This is Lovely Ocean, and you're listening to When We See Each Other. Hello, world. My name is Nikkiesha McLeod, and you're listening to When We See Each Other, presented by Stereoactive Media. When We See Each Other is a podcast that focuses on music and art by BIPOC, queer, trans, and non-binary artists, as well as artists I've met and known for some time. This episode, we're interviewing rapper-songwriter LovelyOcean. Dig the name. Listen to that name. Like, seriously, dude? Seriously? Really awesome. First, we'll play LovelyOcean's dope track, Soft. Then we'll jump right into the interview. Here we go.
The soft life, I want a good life with pleasure, happiness, and more. Cause I deserve it, beyond worth it. Taking the good life has in store. And I'm talking flowers, feelings, all that shit. Never had it before, I feel so rich. I got it, I got it, I got it, got it, got it.
If I should rise right before I take, I can't promise much from these old mistakes. And flip that, got the world in the palm of my hand. No give backs, moving forward. Part of the plan, no chit chat. Wanna be showered in the finer things. Glisten, rings, kisses, sing. Happiness was calling me. Never diminish my own light, it's burn the third degree. So what's work? Don't know nothing about it. Yeah, I put in my time, it ticked on, and I so doubt it. As love lingered in my life, I held it close to me. I poured my all into it, we not matching energy. So run it back, run it up, break time, fall in love. I know what I want right now, no hesitation. Don't need another to fulfill, I'm my motivation. As hard times fade, vision will appear. Sound will carry on to what was really there. Hard times fade, vision will appear. Sound will carry on to what was really there. Thankful for abundance, but it's more than the money. Thankful for the ocean if I ain't feeling too lovely. Thankful for the peace been bestowed on my words. Thankful for the soft, because I know my worth.
I want a soft life, I want a good life with pleasure, happiness, and more. Cause I deserve it, beyond worth it. Taking the good life has in store. And I'm talking flowers, feelings, all that shit. Never had it before, I feel so rich. I got it, I got it, I got it, got it, got it.
A trip to see my daydreams really fall into place and felt discomfort in a minute. It was hard to embrace shit, it was hard. Cause I was lost, but gravity softened the fall. And everything I dreamed is finally showing up like in love with affection, hard to come by. 1 in a million, yeah, that's my type. Yeah, that's my path, know that I'm right. Pleasure on my principles, might take a trip, get away, just explore for the night, huh? No stress, nah, less stress forever. Living in the moment, each day is such a treasure. No stress, nah, less stress forever. Living in the moment, each day is such a treasure. No stress, nah, no stress forever. Living in the moment, each day has been a pleasure.
Hi, Lauren. Welcome to When We See Each Other. So happy to meet you. So happy to meet you and have you on the show. Thank you for having me. Of course. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling pretty good. How are you? I'm good. So I wanted to first start off by acknowledging, the LA fires, and just wanted to know, like, how essentially were you affected? Were you or any of your friends, your family were affected by this? And how is it now? How is it? I know you live in LA, so that's why I'm asking. How's it now for you as well? So, one of my dad's really good friends ended up losing his house. And essentially, a lot of people I know someone who lost a house either in Altadena or Pacific Palisades. Um, I will say it is a bit weird just seeing the pictures of like entire neighborhoods just burned. Um, it's pretty much, yeah, it's hard to believe. But the community has been coming together to like donate, volunteer, stuff like that. So there is some hope, and people really want to get back to rebuilding if possible. But it was just very surreal to see it happening, to see the plume of smoke coming from the hills like in Pacific Palisades, and then seeing the flames from the mountain. And then by the next day, just the sky completely covered in smoke.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's huge. That's so devastating. I mean, I've watched like some of it as well, and I'm just like, what is going on? And I mean, I kind of know what's going on, climate change, and it's just kind of like really hard now to basically deny. Well, I don't. I take that back. For some people, they're still denying the fact that there's climate change,
Yeah.
but it's just like, how can you at this point when you're seeing all of this? It's just insane to me. Like seriously. But anyway, so you grew up in LA, or in California.
Yeah, so I grew up in California. I grew up in LA County. Um, so the city that I come from is called Monrovia. No one knows where that is. Even people who are, native to LA County are like, what's Monrovia? And so I usually explain, oh, it's by Pasadena. You know where Pasadena is? People usually do. And I'm like, it's just a few cities east of
Okay.
that.
And I also wanted to make space to talk about as well, since it's on everyone's mind. It cannot be on. I don't think there's anyone who's not thinking about the political atmosphere that we're living in right now. And so I just wanted to know, how has everything been for you since the inauguration? And please just feel free to let us know.
Ooh, yeah. My attention span has been just shot because there is so much going on. And I'm really trying to limit how much I'm taking in from like social media,
Hmm.
because I'm reading all this stuff. It's, getting my nerves up. Like I'm just
Right.
feeling so jittery. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let me just take a step back. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, but I also want to know what's going on so I can be
Right.
informed. So I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
right, I need to find a balance. So
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
trying to find a balance, but honestly, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like I'm I'm here trying to survive the best that I can,
Yeah.
help my people survive the best that we can, since we're always
Yes.
having to live through
Yes.
something.
Well, one of the things I've been asking, not only myself, but like my close friends, my loved ones, and then also just people that I've met. Um, how are you practicing hope, and how do you plan to practice hope and to basically experience joy, during this time and then for the next 4 years?
So aside from music, I have been trying to plan some trips. So it's like, okay, I got something to look forward to. I also started going to Disneyland.
Really?
And, yeah, because I didn't start going until October last year because my friend had her, like, bachelorette party, and before then, I hadn't been in, like, 10 plus years. But when I went, I was like, "Huh." Like, I don't know, there was just something about it. And, so that has been bringing me a little bit of joy, even though I'm always like, Disney, super capitalist. But But, yeah, at the same time, I'm like, "Okay, it's, like, a time for me to wind down a little bit and feel a little carefree." Like, I wear my little ears, and I'm like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is nice just for, a
Living
few
your inner
hours."
child.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Disneyland, but when I was a kid, I definitely wanted to. Obviously, everyone wanted to when they were kids.
and I have the same perspective. It's just kind of like, that's like a huge signifier of capitalism. And, but I saw the excitement through, experiencing Disneyland from my niece, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that's how I was when I was a kid." It's just like that's the level of joy that I was having about, wanting to both see Disneyland, be in Disneyland, seeing the characters and all of that. So it's kind of like touch and go situation, It's
Yeah, definitely.
but anyway, so yeah, like going back to, believing in hope, having hope and joy. I feel like that's so hard right now, honestly. Like especially hope right now is just so hard to practice. I keep saying to myself this famous quote that hope is a discipline, and I only discovered that like a couple maybe 2 years ago I discovered that phrase, that quote, and I was just, like, totally blown away by that, and I was just like, "Wow, that is so true," and it just reminded me just as much as, like, you practice doing certain things, like, your profession, your art, creativity. It's also the same thing in terms of, like, practicing hope in a sense, right? So, yeah, but anyway, I don't wanna go on on and on about that. But if you have any thoughts about that, totally just jump in.
I mean, that is like, I've never really thought of it that way, but it does make a lot of sense. Um, Especially in times where things seem so hopeless, and then you have to like actively try to create that hope. That's something I'll have to practice.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so let's talk about music. What inspired you to first start making music?
Whew. Okay. So I've always loved music. Grew up around my parents playing records, my sister playing music, whatever. But I didn't start rapping until I met my ex-husband because he was a rapper and like he was pretty good. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do that because I used to write a lot of poetry growing up. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I think this this can translate. And so I remember I told him and he was just like, well, if you're gonna do it, then you better like do it right. You better give it your all. And so I was like, okay, like I will. And so yeah, after that, I started writing my first mixtape and I think that came out like 2018 and I put it on SoundCloud. It had I wanted maybe like 10 tracks. And
Wow.
some of them were
Really?
like,
Wow.
yep. I think I had a couple songs with maybe like three verses.
3
Cause
verses. Wow.
I was just, I was just doing whatever. And
Yeah.
so the sounds back then were pretty interesting, but you can see where I was trying to get to.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what was your first rap song? What was your first rap?
I think it is called Fly Introvert.
Fly Introvert.
Yeah.
Okay, now you need to explain this. You
Yeah.
definitely need to explain this.
Yeah, so I think that was definitely one of my first ones. If not, actually, okay, I'll talk about that one first and then I'll move on to another
Okay.
one that was
Yes,
early.
yes.
So yeah, Fly Introvert. I heard this beat on YouTube and it sounded really spacey, and I'm really into space type stuff. So I was like, ooh. And it starts off, I do what I want and I go where I wanna, but I only leave the house mainly for marijuana.
Oh my god.
And so and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And it was just me kinda being silly, but also being like, "Yeah, this is who I am." Like, I'm introverted, but I'm also pretty fly and cool. I have these elements about me that people don't really know. Um, but honestly, I was just rapping to rap. And that ended up being one of my first, like, official music videos.
Oh.
So, that was
Is that anywhere you can find it?
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. So even trying to learn how to record because I had everything set up in my room, because I was still living at home with like my dad and my sister at the time. And so I was trying to like record but not be too loud, but also be loud enough. So it was just a whole bunch going on. So the sound quality isn't the best, but I was like, I have to make do with what I have. I didn't have money for studio time, so I was like, I gotta do it. And even making the video, it was really fun. I really didn't know what it took to make a music video. Just I mean, besides like watching, behind the scenes type things. It's almost like, wow, I've had to rap the song so many times in so many different uh ways and, rooms and outfits. I'm like, this is amazing. And so yeah, I felt like that was a pretty good experience. Um but the other song that I wrote that was notable is called it's called Cherry. And it's basically a song about what it was like for me growing up. I the street that I grew up was Cherry Avenue, and so I wrote about things I saw. Um, and that was one of my like really first, I want to say like storytelling type of songs where I try to take you into my world so that you can see what's going on and try to visualize it for yourself.
Right. Make your own story based on that.
Yep. And so a lot of people were like, "Oh, like this is actually pretty dope." And so I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And at that time, since I was still, you know, very new to the music scene, music industry, someone had reached out to me and was like, "Oh, like I can make your cover art." I was like, "Yeah, of course, like, that's awesome." And I ended up paying something that I probably shouldn't have. It wasn't, like, too expensive, but thinking about it, I'm like, "Nah." But it was actually pretty cool to look at, and it also inspired me to try to start dabbling with making cover arts and covers and stuff, and so now I just make my own for
Oh,
everything.
wow. So you do your own cover art?
Mhm.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So do you play any other instruments? Do you play any instruments?
I wish. I have tried to learn how to play guitar. Okay, I first started when I was, like, 9, and I just couldn't get it. Then I started again, I wanna say when I was, like, 26, and I got it more that time, but I don't know, it's just something about the fingers. It just it was just really messing me up, but, I would like to go back to it because I feel like if I really give it the practice that it deserves, I feel like I can do a little something.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you said that your sibling and your dad used to play music around the house. Were they musicians or were they just enthusiastic about music and just basically played it around the house, doing chores and whatnot? Basically, what I'm getting at is where did you get your influence from to actually pursue music?
Yeah. So my dad, I don't think he plays any instruments, but I know that he's mentioned when he was little, he used to be in the church choir, but I don't think that lasted for too long. But he also used to be kind of like a DJ. So back in like the 70s and stuff, when they would have parties, he would come with like his creative albums and he'd be in charge of the music. And so there was that, and then my mom, she was also a music lover. Music was just always around. Like, my dad had, like, a really nice sound system, so, he put on an LP, whatever. It's just there was just always something going, especially on a weekend, like, if we had the day off, and it'd be loud, like, it'd be so loud, but there was just something about it, and,
even with, like, my sister, because we have a a pretty big age gap, and so some of my earliest memories are riding in the car with her. She was, like, driving me around, and we were listening to, I Got 5 on it,
Oh.
because she had it, like, I think she had it on tape, and so this was, like, a long, long time ago. And so I'd be telling him, like, "Yeah, that's one of my first memories." She was like, "How do you even remember?" But I was like, "I don't know." But it was the music. And so, there was just always stuff playing, and whether it was from oldies to rap, whatever, there was just always music. There was always something to explore.
Mhm.
I was never one of those people who was like, "Oh, like, I don't like the music my parents are listening to." I was like, "This there's something about this. I really like it."
That's awesome. So you said you first started out by writing poetry. Did you major in English or English lit, or what did you major in?
So I actually majored in psychology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, brains and mental health things, but, I always liked writing and telling stories, and growing up, I was extremely shy, so people weren't really hearing my voice too often, and honestly, that was by choice because 'cause I'm like, they don't want to talk especially if I don't have to, but I would always be just writing something, either like a little short story, poem, you know, once they teach you how to, like, put little rhyme schemes together in, like, elementary school, and then you go off from that, so I was always writing in a notebook or writing in the margins of something just to write.
But basically, you were very serious about your pen, obviously.
Yes, even though it took some work, I was always about it.
Yes, yes, awesome, awesome. So, what would you say is your approach to creating your music? Do you start writing something down and then come up with the music, or do you have an idea and then, you start writing that, or you start off with the music itself and that inspires you to create a new world? What is your process?
So I wanna say when I first started, I would just be writing. I would just write because it would have a certain sound in my head, and then I would try to find a beat that kinda sounded like how it sounded in my head, but I didn't know how to produce. I still don't know how to produce. Someday, but yeah, so I'm like, "Okay, like, this kinda sounds like what I was, hearing," and just try to, like, make it fit. I was trying to make it fit so that it could somehow still sound like how I wanted it to sound. And so as time went on, I started, like, listening to more beats, as I started, meeting more people and networking, they would send me stuff. I'll be like, "Okay," so it'll kinda, like, spark some stuff. But if I had, like, an idea for a certain project I wanted, be like, "Okay, I want it all to be somehow related to space." See, there I go with the the space
Hey,
again.
I love space too.
Or, or just anything really, and so I'm like, "Okay, I'm trying to keep a certain, you know, theme together." But honestly, now I I'll get an idea and I'll listen to a beat. I'll listen to it a few times, but I won't try to, force anything in that moment if it's not coming. And so, maybe, like, as I'm going through the day and I hear the beat in my head, and then all of a sudden I get, like, that first line, then I'm like, "Okay." So I'll, like, quickly jot it down on my phone, and then usually when I get home from work or something, then I'll go back to it and be like, "Okay, like, what else can I add to this? Where am I gonna go with this? Like, what is the song gonna be about?" I'll be like, "Oh, okay. Like, this is making sense. Okay." And then it just kinda goes from there. So, speaking of songs, Soft. It's so good. It is. Like, the first time I heard it, I was just like, yeah, yeah. And then I saw the video and I was just like filled with joy. It was just so good, like, seriously. And like the lines, no stress, nah, less stress forever, living in the moment. Each day it's been a pleasure. That has become like my mantra, honestly. I really feel like we need this vibe right now. It's so good and necessary. So what inspired that song?
I'll start off with the beat. So, I had met the producer. His name is Eli. I met him through a Discord, through a Reddit, like a subreddit for hip hop. And so then we made the Discord and then, whatever. And so he would send me some stuff. And he's like, "Oh, I got some stuff that I think, maybe you should check out. If you like it, let me know." And so the beat for Soft was on there. And I was like, this is really different. Like, I like it. And so I told him, I was like, "Can I use this?" He's like, "Yeah, whatever." And I kid you not, I had that beat just sitting off to the side for months.
Yeah.
I wanna say maybe, like, close to a year because I
Wow.
would go back to it and I'm like, I would get the opening line, but I'm like, "There's something else." And I was like, "Maybe it's a little," I'm like, "I think it's a little too fast." And so I went back to him and I said, "Do you mind if I just slow it down just a little bit?" And he's like, "Yeah, do whatever you want." So I slowed it down just a hair, and then for that just, like that kickstarted it. And, so the inspiration was because I had gone through a divorce, and it's so funny because I had been trying to write the song while I was still married, but nothing was coming out. It wasn't until I really started the whole proceedings and everything that I was able to write the song, and I wanted to be like some sort of manifestation. Like, I want a soft life. I want a good life. Like, that is what I want. That's what I feel like everyone should have, honestly. And so, that's essentially how it got made. And um, I like wrote half of it in the parking lot of a laundromat that I used to go to before I moved because I was staying in Inglewood. And so I was like, okay, I think I can work with this. And so then I hit up one of my high school friends. Her name is Jessica. She goes by J Antoinette. And I was like, "I know you sing and like I got a song and I think your voice would work well with the track. So, just let me know." And so I sent the song to her, but like with my voice vocals on it singing, just so she could know like how I wanted it to sound. And she was like, "Okay, like I can get with this." And so she came to my apartment, and at the time I had a coat closet. It was like so roomy. It was the best studio ever. I miss it every day. And so we went in the studio and, we recorded. She recorded her vocals and everything. And she also did the vocals for like another song. But I was like, this is it. And she was going through the song and she was like, "Yeah, you got something."
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's really awesome. Like, every time I listen to it, I get in a really good mood, honestly. It changes my mood and it just makes me feel good about things. And just going back to the initial question about hope, that definitely gives me hope, honestly. So you said that it was the beat that really set the tone, that really inspired you to then create the lyrics? Or was it the lyrics that were there, but they were dormant and basically you were waiting for something to actually speak these words because of your divorce that you were experiencing?
Yes, that's what I really think it is. Because I had just been trying for so long to make it come together. And even when I ended up, like, slowing down the beat, I was just like, "There's still something." And it wasn't until, like, honestly, he moved out and I finally had my apartment to myself that I was able to just really look around
Mm,
and be in, like, this whole a different state of peace that I
right.
had not known in quite some time.
Yeah.
And so, listening back to the beat, I was like "This is gonna be this is gonna be a good song. Like, it's gonna be happy. This song is gonna be, like, what I really want from my life from this point on." So, I wrote it with intention that it's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of intentionality in this song. It's very obvious. Well, at least to me. It was very intentional, and even the video itself is very intentional, like, the fact that, you both are just, like, frolicking in the park. I love it. I love it, like, seriously, it was so good. Um, so how would you say Soft differs from your other, like, other works, other, songs and,
A lot of my other songs are kinda like boom bappy.
Okay, you need to explain what boom bappy is.
See, that this is what someone has told me, and I was like, "So what do you mean?" He's like, like the way you be rapping, it's like that old school boom bap."
Oh,
And I'm like,
okay.
"Okay." And so I just started saying it's boom bappy.
Okay.
But I'm like, even then, like, Soft is still also lyrical. It's just like a different tone and everything. And so that's kinda how I think it differs, and even just, like, the other beats I use, they maybe tend to be a little more dark or mysterious with the vibe, and so this one is just completely like, "Oh, like, okay, this is different," and that's really what I was trying to do with the last project I made. I was like, I'm really trying to step outside of this, my comfort zone and try something new, see if it lands. Even if it doesn't, Imma still try new stuff. So, it just happened to be something I wanted to go for.
So how long did it take you to create Soft?
I wanna say once I started writing it, everything flowed. So, probably, like, I wanna say, like, an hour, and that was how I knew that what I had written was supposed to be written. Because when it just comes easily like that, I'm
Yeah.
like, "This is how it's supposed to be."
And usually it's like those songs that come immediately are usually your best songs, honestly, I feel
Mhm.
like. But anyway, you were gonna say something.
Like I was saying, that's just how I knew, because sometimes, I'll listen to a song even when I was first listening to just the beat and how long it took me to actually start, but once I was in a different state of mind, I was able to really focus, but, it still varies from song to song. I'm I'm trying to write, like, 3 songs at the moment
Oh, wow. That's impressive. So you recorded Soft by yourself
in the closet.
in the closet. Oh my god, so you need to talk about this. You seriously need to talk about this. I wanna hear all the details, like, seriously.
It is so funny because when I'd have, like, a recording day,
Mhm.
it would usually be on a weekend. I go in the closet, I have some weed, I have some snacks, got my water, some juice. I'd have, like, a cup of tea as well,
Mhm.
and I would I would set everything up, have my mic and everything, so I'd stand up, push record. I'd go, stop, go, stop, because I keep messing up or whatnot, or just go through it so many times, so many takes. And since I'm the one who has to, be at the controls, it was just so much. And so I'm doing that, drinking my water, just trying to get refreshed. and it would take a while, especially if I was trying to do, like, multiple songs, um, but sometimes even in that session, it wouldn't even be the final session. I would come back to it, a few days later, listen to it, be like, okay, I think I know what to do this time with, like, the way I'm pronouncing things to actually make it sound more fluid and things like that. So then when I go through it again, it sounds better. So it was a process. Yeah,
Yeah.
it took a while.
Took a while. Okay. Well, I mean, you did a great job, honestly. You did it all by yourself, and kudos to you. Like, seriously. Also, the other song that I was really connected to as well was Love.
Mhm.
It feels so nostalgic, like, reflecting on past things and seeing the purpose of those experiences you had in the past and like gaining a deeper insight because of that. I feel like it's also kind of like a tribute to your family and the love that they have for you and you for them. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, you are very right. And yeah, when people like Love, that's always one of my favorite ones to perform, and it can also be the hardest just because it's so personal,
Yeah.
and sometimes, you can get, like, a little emotional, but I I wrote Love back in 2019 because I was gonna release, a song on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day for 2020, and so I was the first song, I can't even remember what it was, but Love, I was like, "Okay, like, I want 2020 to be, like, my year, so this is what I'm gonna start it with, like, this good song." And so, even as I was writing it, it was hard just because there was so much to reflect on and just thinking back to, me growing up, my mom, my dad, my sister, just everything, and how it ended up shaping me. Um, so I would have to take, like, a lot of breaks, but even going through it, I was like, "Okay, I feel like I feel like this could work." And so when I released it, it was on SoundCloud for a while. And then, I would say it wasn't until a couple years ago, I went back to it, and I was like, "Dang, this is on SoundCloud, but it's just, like, sitting here, essentially, like, no one really knows about it." I have been promoting it for a little bit, but, people were they weren't gonna go to my SoundClouds, and so I decided to, re-record it, and, so I ended up re-recording it in my little closet studio. Yeah, that was, essentially how it was born. And I remember sending it to my family, and just the response that they gave me, like, they were they were just so proud of me, and were also just kinda, like, blown away
Right.
by what I had written, and they were just like, "This is really good." And, you know, they were all very, very much touched by, having been mentioned and
Yeah.
acknowledged for, how they had contributed to my life ultimately.
Right. That is so beautiful. Like, seriously, that is just really so beautiful. So, and this might be pretty obvious, but I feel like this song Love also connects with your identity. And if you can talk about how your music in general connects with your identity, that would be great.
Yeah, ooh. I feel like music has been the easiest way to really express who I am, like, with no real reservations or hesitancy. Be like, "Okay, I can talk about my experience being Black, being queer, and, Imma put it out. It's me, so you are gonna absorb the message and you're gonna absorb who I am. And I know, like, sometimes it wasn't easy for me to, like, talk about certain things, but when it comes to the music, it was always easier to just write about it. Even when I was, younger and just writing in notebooks, it was always easier to just, like, you know, jot down how I was feeling instead of just, talking to someone about it or whatnot. But I feel like it has been able to paint a picture of me that people didn't expect or they didn't know, because a lot of people that I ended up like, that I went to school with, they were when I tell you, they were so shocked that I started rapping because I was known as, like, the shy girl, like, one of the shy girls at school, so they were like, "Sh you rapping?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "It's actually good." But then, like, when they really listen to it, they're like, "Oh, but, like, you had some stuff going on." I'm like, "Yeah." Um, I have from my first mixtape, I have a song that's called, 2011, and it basically is talking about the year that my mom died, and so I talk about, being a teenager, sitting in class, not being able to focus because 'cause I'm worried about my mom, and essentially just kind of, like, rapping my way through, like, watching her pass away and also watching how my family is also dealing with it. And so that that was a song where, like, you listen to it and you're like, "Oh my gosh, like, this like, this is quite sad." And so I remember I shared it with my family because I was like, "I wrote this, and I thought you might wanna hear it." And so, that one was definitely, like, a tearjerker for them. And
Yeah.
honestly, like, even people who I'm not related to.
What's the name of the song?
It's called, 2011 or just 2011, just the numbers.
Okay. Would you say that you use music to heal?
Absolutely. I have found that alongside therapy, um, music has I wanna say it has truly elevated my mental health to a place that I didn't think was possible because, like, I've been just so low before that even being in the space that I'm in now, it seems, like, almost unbelievable. And so music has healed, like, so much. Just being able to really, like, express how I'm feeling and just to, like, get it out there. It just really did a lot for me because I had been used to just holding stuff in for just so long, like, how I'm really feeling, how I'm really dealing with stuff, how I'm grieving, and I'm like, "I have to get this out some
I
way."
have to release it.
Mhm. And so I just started putting it all in the music.
Yeah, that's amazing. So why the stage name Lovely Ocean?
So on Instagram, my ex, he used to change his Instagram handle, like, all the time. He would just use a random name generator. And so one day, it comes up with Lovely Ocean Waters. And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And so then, time goes by and he changes it to something else, whatever. And so I was talking to him and I was like, "Yo, do you mind if I, like, change my Instagram name to Lovely Ocean Waters?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't care." And so then, when I was trying to start rapping, I was like, "I don't even know what to call myself." And then we're like, "Well, what about Lovely Ocean?" And it just stuck. It just stuck. And, I feel like it really works because sometimes I go by, um well, LO because, Lovely Ocean, and people call me Lo sometimes. So it just happened to kind of work out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really think it's unique and it does work. I was just like, Lovely Ocean. I will remember this. I would
Right?
totally remember this.
And people are like, "Oh, like, you must really love the ocean," and honestly, I am
Yeah.
terrified of the ocean. Like, yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful, like, the
Yes.
sea creatures and everything, but
Right.
the unknown, oh,
Oh my god.
terrified.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So, thinking about your influences, I'm curious which artists you get compared to the most and whether you appreciate those comparisons.
I would say I get compared to, like, Rhapsody, which I absolutely do not mind because she is amazing and definitely inspired me to step my game up.
Right.
On some of my other tracks, like my song called "Type Bitch," people people say like, "Oh, who?" I can't even remember who they said. Oh, well, they were like most recently, they were like, "Oh, it's kinda giving like Doechii," and I was like, "Okay, like, I can kinda see that." But it really varies, honestly, because 'cause I'm like, "Well, I don't really know." People say all kinds of things. Sometimes they throw names at me that I'm not familiar with, so I'm like, "Oh, okay."
What was one of the artists that they threw at you that was just like, "Really?"
Someone once was like, "Oh, you kinda got, like, this Megan Thee Stallion thing going on," and I was like, "Hmm." Perhaps our height? But I was like, "No, like, I think our styles are pretty different." Like, I love her music, but I'm like, I don't see it." But I think they just see, you know, female presenting person who raps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like them, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's kind of like the lazy way out, where it's just like, "Oh, well, you have to be like this person because you're perceived as a woman and therefore you must be rapping like this artist that's out there." Just
right?
like that.
And then I'm like, well, I'm like, "Have you listened, uh,
Yes.
to
Yes.
to what I'm making?" But, people say things.
Yes,
And
they
they
do.
they just be talking, but
Yes, they do. And so who are some of your influences that you think people would be surprised about?
I think people would be surprised that one of my biggest influences is Earth, Wind& and Fire.
Oh my god, so good. Which song?
So one of my mom's favorite songs is called "I'll Write a Song for You." It is so beautiful and just it provokes just so many emotions with the words, you know, the band playing that I really wanted to try to focus on telling a story that could be beautiful and also maybe, it makes you feel, some type of way in your chest, like it's bringing something up. But just the way that they are able to convey a message so beautifully really inspired me. And honestly, that was one of the groups that was played in my house the most. So Earth, Wind& and Fire was always playing.
How would you describe your sound?
Typically, I describe my sound as kind of like East Coast inspired 90s era, but with a West Coast flavor.
Alright, give some examples of that. Give some examples of that blend.
Right? I'm like, okay. So I have a song, it's called Too Close for Comfort.
Mhm.
And so the beat is like, it's a little gritty. And so I was trying to really like kind of rap hard. And so I just start off like a little aggressive, like, Imma need you to, jump back when I tell you step off. You know, niggas playing think I'm passive, nonchalant, too soft. And so I was like, yeah, like, that's kinda like that, you know? It's that East Coast. And also at the time, like, my ex, he was from New Jersey, so he he was, you know, he was Jerseying up the place. And so growing up, I listened to a lot of groups with, like, my sister, like, a lot of Black Moon, and so I was always trying to, like, kinda rap like them, but then also let people know that I am from California. But I feel like that's also something that maybe comes out more with my accent or lack thereof, depending on who you ask. But I don't know. It's really hard for me to describe my sound. I just make whatever comes to my head.
Which do you prefer the most, studio work or performing live?
I would say performing. And years ago, that is something I probably would have never said. But as I have performed more,
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten like more comfortable with it. It was honestly like it became one of my favorite things to do, even though it was also exhausting
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, okay, like I get in front of a new crowd. They don't know what to expect from me, you know. Uh, so then when I start, they're like, "Oh, okay." And just seeing their reaction be like, "See, I got y'all," you know? Like this is of course like that's what I was supposed to do. And yeah, and I've been able to like perform at different little events, like backyard stuff, um look like festivals. I performed at a Pride event in San Diego in what, 2023? So, it's opened some interesting doors for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And I also forgot to ask you when we were discussing like your sound, how would you say your sound differs from other genre related artists?
I would say that it currently sounds different than what would be considered mainstream and like the stuff we're hearing on the radio and whatnot. I do have a couple of songs that I think could fit within that, but overall it's not really commercialized, but it's not really meant to be because it's just coming from me. And I just want it to be authentic. And as long as I'm continuing to be authentic, it's going to show for itself. And if it happens to catch on, it does. But I'm not trying to make something that I think, people will like. I'm trying to make something that I know I'm going to like.
Yes, yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Very true. I mean, it wouldn't make sense if you made something that you didn't like because then you wouldn't want to share it, right?
Yeah. And yeah, that's how I felt about one of my songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Or were you being hypercritical about it?
Oh, both. Um because it was with the song Tight Bitch. It was out of left field. And at the time my ex was like, "You should write a song about, telling people the type of bitch you ain't and all this stuff." He had been saying that for like a minute. And I was like, "I don't want to do that." And then one day I found this beat. I was like, I feel like this is the type of beat that I can try to use for this song. And I was like, okay. I just took it as a challenge, because he
Mhm.
was like, "Yeah, you should do this," and I hadn't done a song like that before, you know? And I was really thinking about, like, what people kinda want to hear. Be like, "Okay, like, with a beat like this and the subject matter, like, how can I really get people's attention with this?" And so I was like, "Okay, it's the type of bitch you can walk all over. Pay me now just in lump sums. Imma get mine however regardless. Fucking with you, that's just for fun." And so I was like, "Okay." And so I ended up recording it. That was one of the songs that I ended up, like, mixing myself. And as I listened to it over and over again, I was like, "Okay, this is actually growing on me." I'm like, "It's low-key fire." And so I ended up releasing it as a single, and this was, like, back in 2021. So I just had it out there, and I remember putting it on Instagram, and I was like, "I just put out this song. It's not my usual vibe, but, let me know what y'all think." And, some people listen to it, blah, blah, blah. And, it wasn't until I started posting it on TikTok, because I was like, I feel like this song could get a little more attention if people knew it was there. And so I started posting it on TikTok, and people were like, "Oh, like, what's this?" Like, "Oh, this is fire." Like, "Oh, I wanna shake my ass to this." I'm like, "Okay."
Well, yes, if you're gonna shake your ass to my song, then yes,
Like, please,
please
please
feel
do.
free.
Yes,
Feel
share it
free.
with other ass shakers, please. And so then, I decided to make the music video for it, and I didn't make the video for it till last year, honestly. So last last year was the year that it kinda really picked up in popularity, because I also started, like, running ads for it and the video, so it helped me get a farther reach.
So, do you make your videos as well?
I don't film it or direct it, but I'll, like, have an idea.
Mhm.
At least the most recent, like, 3 or 4 videos I've done have been done by, the same people. Aries Marie, she, directed it, and Daniel Sun was the producer, and so they were really awesome to work with.
Mhm.
And, she would present me with, like, some of these ideas, because she would listen to the song. She'd be like, "What do you think about this?" I'm like, "Okay, like, I see where you're going with this." And then I'd be like, "What about, like, this?" And so then we come together, and it would work. So the video for Type Bitch is honestly, like, it's cool. There were some parts where she was like, like, dance a little bit." And I'm like, "I'm not a dancer." So I'm doing, like, this this little awkward two-step, but it was fun.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna ask, can you give us some bars?
Like, what type of bars?
Whatever you feel like.
Okay, I know what I can do. I won't give you the whole thing, but I'll give you enough. Clouded vision, coma, name, body, visits were never the same. If I said that I was okay, would you remain with me eternity for life 1 in a million, gang? I've been rushing with no intention to slow it down. Ambition keeps the fire burning that's within me now. If I fall back, I'm afraid because of my late arrival. Time is of the essence, wasting away as life's on trial. I'm standing pleading to the judge, but they won't let me leave. A jury of my peers for real because they all look like me. Got plans that go beyond the stars because I'm forever dreaming. A rocket ship that's built for one because I need time for healing. Why would I ask you to stay if I'm on borrowed time? Please don't ever wait for me. Just go on and live your life. Messes were made, so end results I meant to lie in. I'm crying well a part of my day. Bad thoughts are home again. A disappointment was the last thing that I tried to be. We should just say bye-bye. For now, my love will never plead. The voice I hear inside my head stays in our magic box, but we don't even need a key because it'll never lock. What was about you that had me so much in love? The deepest tones within your skin, those eyes can't get enough. Beautiful woman, a strong mind, proud to possess. Our presence only holds us back. I'll go so you'll progress. My love, sweet love, we make some joyous memories. All the sweetest things you ever said trapped in my sensory. foolish of me to ever think that we could ever last. You might be broken, but you still reveled in broken glass. So,
Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. All right. All right. All right. All right. So what are your future plans? Any new music dropping soon?
I don't know about soon. Soon depends on how quick I can get myself together, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to put out a new project because I'm literally sitting on, I want to say like 4 songs.
Really?
Yeah. And I want to say all but all but one have like the hook. I don't even know if one is going to have a hook, but I just really need to get it together. Like I'm almost done with, like the second verses. Second verses is where I really be struggling because I'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what else to do. But I feel like once I get those down, I definitely want to put out another little project this year.
Okay. All right.
So
So, you need to tell us about it when it happens. Like, seriously, reach out and let us know so we can, support that.
yes, of course. Thank you.
And then also, I wanted to know, are there any artists you would like to shout out and recommend?
Let me get my phone ready. Because I have a lot. So first, Jay Antoinette. Her voice is amazing. B DeVoe. They're from the Bay Area. Voice amazing as well. Yoshi Vintage. We got a song together on my last project. She's so dope. Zay De La Soul. I don't know if they're going by the De La Soul part, but Zay, a rapper who I met through like TikTok, I think. And so we got a couple of tracks together. Also a dope artist. I also want to shout out Brian Davis, who is the instrumentalist. He has produced some of my tracks. He is also very good.
What books are you reading right now or you've read that just basically exploded your mind?
Recently, I read a book called Monday's Not Coming. I won't give anything away, but it took me for a ride.
All right. So where can folks find you?
You can follow me on Instagram, LovelyOcean Waters, TikTok, You can find me on yo_LovelyOcean because LovelyOcean was already taken. But you can find me on all these streaming platforms under LovelyOcean. I will say one word, big L, big O, LovelyOcean. So yeah. And check me out on YouTube. You can see my videos. Check me out on SoundCloud if you want to listen to the old stuff.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So I just wanted to say thank you again for being on the show, Lauren. It was such a pleasure meeting you and talking with you. And I wish you all the best and all the success.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is the first interview I've had in a long time, so it feels good to, talk to folks again. So thank you.
So that was LovelyOcean. Isn't she awesome? It was so refreshing talking with her. Her music is so relatable and necessary. Definitely check it out. It's available on all streaming platforms. So we're gonna play one last song by LovelyOcean called Love. Listen up.
This ain't the life that I want, but it's the one I was given. My mama told me be grateful, she pressing hair in the kitchen. No, I can tell you about a little girl that's trapped in my mind. When I wanna reminisce, I step it back and rewind. I ain't really trying to dwell on that O2 now. I'm just a grown ass person, been a while since a child. But if I think back, look back on everything that's happened, trauma plus suppression is just mental health mathematics. When added up the pain and left no room for satisfaction. This ain't how it's supposed to go. Really need a plan of action. I'm looking dead in the mirror, but I only see flaws. Distortion of perception, wish I knew the real cause. I'm a black person with a heart made of gold, getting tested every day, see my metal turn to stone. I needed knowledge of self with the warm touch of a hug, but the realest self-discovery was teaching me how to love. They just wanna be loved, and that's a real fear. Cause every time they give up, the harder heal the hurt. But it's all love, and don't no one come above. That's the one you can trust, the one they call love. Cause they just wanna be loved, and that's a real fear. Cause every time they give up, the harder heal the hurt. But it's all love, and don't no one come above. That's the one you can trust, the one they call love. The greatest gift I gave myself, see, was just a second chance. Started to put myself first, cause Lolo is my best friend. I find myself getting enchanted, led by rhythm and melody. Music's more than just a sound, it's my body, my reality. Light a candle, burn the earth, as I call spirits of family. Speaking out for God, his ancestors be showing me you feeling me. Was raised by older souls, they really taught me the business. My mama raising other kids that had no time for her vision. Daddy always been a genius, but was one of the oldest. Fixing bugs and build computers, swear that dude is the coldest. My sister, man, I swear she's like a jack of all trades. She will guard and cuss you out and watch Trek all in the day. But the love I get from you feels like it's one in a million. It can always keep me calm, keep me grounded when I'm feeling. Most important part of all is the one true, that is me. I'm putting love back and lovely manifesting my dreams, yeah. They just wanna be loved, and that's real for ya. Every time they give up, the harder heal the hurt. But it's all love, and no one come above. That's the one you can trust, the one they call love. Cause they just wanna be loved, and that's real for ya. Every time they give up, the harder heal the hurt. But it's all love, don't no one come above. That's the one you can trust, the one they call love.
Thanks for listening to When We See Each Other. I'm your host, Nikkiesha McLeod. This show is produced and edited by Jeremiah McVeigh. If you like what you hear in this show, please rate and review it in Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else that allows that. And please follow us wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. Doing so helps us to expand our audience and is much appreciated. You can find more information about this show at stereoactivemedia.com/whenweseeeachother. And you can get in touch with us at stereoactivemedia@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Instagram and TikTok under the handle WWSEO Pod. Talk to you later.
This podcast is produced by Stereoactive Media.